So in this live, I will answer questions that you sent me about my 10 days of Vipassana. So, one of the questions that I got was whether I would do it again. And the answer is absolutely yes, I would. So, even though I do not think that this is the only way, which is, and that is something that I had a problem with, what they try to tell you, that this is the road to enlightenment and this is the way to be non-attached emotionally, and this is the way to have a clear mind and master your mind. If for me it is a way, it is not the only way, and it is not good for everybody at the same time. But I would definitely do it again, especially since, as I mentioned in the last video, I was already able to reverse and change a pattern that I had thanks to the Vipassana retreat. And something that I actually really learned in that retreat was discipline. My God, you have to be disciplined. Because, nobody checks if you wake up at 4. So the first meditation, coming back a little bit to schedule, that is from 4:30 to 6:30. You don't have to be in the meditation hall where everybody is. You can just meditate in your own room. However, nobody is going to come knock on your door and check if you actually do that. You do have a roommate. If you don't have a single room, which I don't think that they do to new students for a good reason. Like, it was so amazing that I had a roommate, because then I felt this, responsibility. It's like, you cannot stay in bed now. Like, one of us has to get up first. And usually that was me. So, this whole thing about don't communicate, just getting out of your bed, just communicating to your roommate, hey, we're in this together, let's, remove those blankets and get up at 4. Yeah, so nobody checks and nobody controls, nobody can look inside your head and see how focused you really are, whether you are sitting there just thinking about stuff and wishing for that hour of meditation to be over, or whether you go out for a half-hour walk, or just 5 minutes. At least as far as I can tell, nobody's going to check that. In fact, don't tell anyone. One of my very best meditations, when it comes to the process of meditation itself, I had when I secretly went outside during an afternoon meditation, and there was almost no one outside because it was kind of a cloudy, rainy day. And I just sat on the bench and I meditated there for 45 minutes, and it was so amazing. But you're actually not supposed to meditate outside. So yeah, you do need so much determination and self-responsibility, which I was going to say brings me to the question how to best prepare for Vipassana, but let me answer some other questions first. So one of you was asking whether that had anything to do with ayahuasca, and it's definitely a no. So no substances involved, absolutely none except your body. In fact, you have to accept 5 precepts while you are there, and one of them is to not consume drugs. So it's to not consume drugs, to not speak, to abstain from sexual misconduct, to not eat after noon except for fruit. And what was the 5th one? To not steal. Those are the 5 precepts that you have to agree to. So yeah, you can definitely have experiences with ayahuasca, with other substances, but and there were quite a few people who have experiences with substances at the retreat, as we found out on the last day when we were allowed to speak again. But Vipassana is really just about you and you alone, with your body and your thoughts. And no outside, there's no God, there's no energies, there's no, focus on space or something. It's really interesting to me because I know similar meditations by Joe Dispenza's meditations, for example, for me are very similar, same, but different. You connect to space, but also in Vipassana, the ultimate goal is to kind of feel your body in a sense that it's open and connected to everything. So, same but different. Was it a good experience? Well, define good, because as I said, it is very challenging. We all meet our own demons, but I can only speak for myself. It was absolutely what I needed at exactly the right time. I needed to come back to my discipline, which, I had lost a little bit, sharing with you very honestly. I used to be a hyper disciplined person, but then that would be kind of rigid. And then I loosened it completely, and that was also not good because you don't get anywhere without discipline. And this experience really forces you to be disciplined and to discipline yourself. So, and yeah, as I mentioned, some of the effects are definitely still lasting now. It's been a week since I came back. I've meditated almost every day. I feel a lot more focused. It's a lot easier for me to connect to my body in the moment and to let go of unhealthy thoughts. So that alone is worth a million. Did I miss speaking? That was the question that most of you asked. And the fun thing is that I didn't. It was awkward. The first 1 or 2 days, it was a little awkward because, you have lunch together with the others, you are with your roommate, and it's like to not even be allowed to say, oh, thank you, or hey, can you pass me the salt, or, like, thanks for holding the door open, or hey, what time it is, or hey, do you know if we have to be in the meditation hall, or can we meditate in our own rooms, or what's the thing? There are two people that you can ask. Two people that you can ask. So there are people there for you, the course managers, that you can always talk to if you have an issue, right? You are not like fucked if you have an issue, and nobody will speak to you. Like, that's not that way. But so it was awkward at first, but then like everybody's doing it, so it's fine. You're all in this together. So I actually didn't. I did miss singing on the third day or so. And as I mentioned in the video before, I was connected to one of my insights. And actually, that was a surprise to me. I didn't actually want to come back to speaking in the end. When I knew that the 10th day was coming, hi Denise! 10th day was coming, and they would lift, this precept of do not speak after 11 a.m. 11 a.m. I was like, oh my god. Oh, everybody's going to be speaking and gathering, and I didn't want to speak because I wanted to preserve that experience, and also I felt like, knowing myself, I would be super open and receptive. And so my intention was to actually limit my coming conversations to, very conscious conversations and not chattering. And sure enough, when the time came, I actually went out in the field to go for a walk. Like, I'm not going to be out there chatting. People were like loud talking and laughing, and I was like, oh my god, this is so weird. I don't want to take part in this. And the moment, like, guys, you cannot imagine. I was like, oh my god, my voice sounds so crazy. This feels so crazy. To feel the resonance in your body, in your mouth, to hear your own sound for the first time after 9.5 days, well, almost 10 days actually. Guys, it's crazy. Especially for me as a singer, and for me as someone who is here, used to be here constantly making so many stories and talking and videos and this and that. So I was so used to hearing my voice and so used to working with my voice that now, one of the reasons why I would do it again, I am able to perceive my voice in a different way and to feel my voice much more consciously than before. And that is such a gift. I don't know if any of you has ever fasted, like food wise. It's really comparable to that feeling of after a week of liquid foods going back to chewing something. I did that last year in January, and this feeling of eating a salad with vegetables that I could munch on, oh my god, I was sitting across my partner looking at him like, oh my god, this is so good. It's like almost like a full body orgasm. So that's what it was with the voice. And yeah, insane. Okay, now actually my favorite question. Alyssa asked, how would you advise people to prepare for Vipassana? And it's hard to say, because as I mentioned, I feel like we all meet our own demons during that process, and no matter if you have already meditated or not, I think it is still going to be challenging, simply because of the physical aspect of sitting and the food and the fact that it's a silent meditation and it's not guided meditation. So yeah, of course, it's good if you have meditation experience, but I don't think that that's the only premise. What I feel actually is the most important is to not expect to be mothered, to not expect to be, taken by the hand. This is not a feel-good retreat. This is not a feel-good experience. This is a pull the fuck through experience. The guy that actually was my ride, the way there, told me that for him it got worse and worse and worse and worse up until day 6. And then that pattern broke and the last days were great. For me, it was more like a wave movement. But imagine wanting to leave and feeling like shit and worse and worse and worse for 6 weeks. That's a whole week. 6 days, that's a whole week. And so the temptation to leave is kind of omnipresent, I guess. And so, yes, there are, tapes and instructions, but nobody's going to be like, so how are you feeling about this? Is this good? So yes, you have a chance to sign up for an interview with a meditation teacher and ask him or her a question, which is what I did once. But it's not that kind of, yes, we go through shatters, but then we're all gonna hug and feel good. Like, this is not happening. There's also no physical touch during the whole retreat. And like I said, nobody is gonna check whether you're actually doing it or not, because nobody can look inside your head, and nobody's gonna knock on your door and check whether you're sleeping in your room or whether you're actually meditating. So expect to be very self-responsible. That's something that you ought to know, I guess. Very self-responsible. Or to learn to be self-responsible. Because also, that's something that I thought also when I considered quitting. I always asked myself, if I leave, or by the end of this, will I think that I have made the best out of my time here? And that was my measuring stick. That was my benchmark. because like I said before, there's this fine line between overexerting yourself and expecting things of yourself that are unrealistic, that to crave something, to crave a certain experience maybe, or to expect of yourself to do it, extraordinarily well, and to say, okay, wait a minute, like there's a line here to what is my capacity. So for example, there was one morning where I don't know if I was fighting with my demon or what, but anyway, I was really tired, I think also. And so I like meditated for 15 minutes and then I went for a half-hour walk in the morning. And nobody controlled it, and I followed my gut feeling there, my instinct, and also my reasoning. So pretty much all of my thing was involved. So it's good if you know how to inquire yourself. But I would always ask, so am I doing myself justice, and am I doing justice to the practice? And the answer is yes. So even when I have taken breaks, even when I was like, oh, this is similar to Joe Dispenza, let me try, or this is really similar to Eckhart Tolle's meditation, which it is super similar to Eckhart Tolle's meditation in The Power of Now. It's almost the bloody same, except there's a visualization part in Eckhart Tolle's meditation that you don't have in the Vipassana. It doesn't involve any visual things. I would always come back to, no, I am here to learn Vipassana, I'm here to try this out, and I'm here to do it the way that they instructed. And so, yes, I feel like I have done justice to this practice, and I think this should be a measuring stick. And also, I want you to know that it's also not about finishing, there's no finish line. If you should notice, really, for some reason, this is not for you, don't feel bad about not staying, There's a part in the evening lectures, unfortunately, where the guy doesn't speak very good about people who quit and leave. And I was like, that's just not cool. It's good to motivate people to stay, but not in a way that is kind of taking away from the people who decide not to pull through. But hey, like I said, I would do it again. All the criticism that I had of those discourses and the philosophy did not keep me from taking advantage of the practice itself. Yeah, it's important to know that the Vipassana is one way out of many. And yeah, if you try this way, really try it. But if this shoe doesn't fit you, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. I guess that's it. I do recommend it. I really recommend it for the technique, for the experience of really learning to focus, for the experience of discipline, for the experience of self-responsibility is great. The discourses, a lot of us, as I later found out, had some issues with it. Also the philosophy that actually should be more about non-attachment, which means basically if something bad happens, you're not going to be sad and destroyed for the rest of the day or the week or your life because some time ago something bad happened. Or if you had a good experience, or if you want a good experience, if you want something, that you don't go into like holding on to this, so if this doesn't happen the way that I want it, I'm going to be miserable. This is what non-attachment is about. Or, you lose your bike and you are destroyed, This is basically what non-attachment is about, to not be emotionally attached and too involved. It's about staying equanimous, staying in an equilibrium of body, mind, and soul, I would say. But unfortunately, the way that it is taught in this course is a little different, which is what I had an issue with as well. So yeah, if I advise you that if you go there to kind of 5 Grade sein lassen, as we say in German, to turn a blind eye on some things, and just give the technique a chance and give yourself a chance to learn to sit and meditate. Yeah, there are so many things that I could say about the philosophy and what I think or don't think about it. If you want to know, if you are even more curious than what I shared in this and the video before and the first video, then feel free to contact me personally. I will definitely share with you. It's been super worth it. I'm getting also positive feedback from all around. This is not what I did it for, by the way. I did it for myself, and I guess for you, so that you can now take part. And there's a loud train, so it's telling me, shut up, Fady, it's enough now. So